There's one street orientation in Laguna Beach that almost nobody talks about, but everyone eventually wishes they knew before they bought. And I mean everyone. Everyone from buyers, locals, even agents who've been doing this for years. Sometimes miss it until a client points it out to them and it's actually done the hard way. But here's the thing. Two properties can sit one block apart, same price, same square footage, same view category on paper, but one of them catches that warm afternoon light that makes the ocean look like it's on fire at sunset. The other faces north, and it's still beautiful, but don't get me wrong, but it's fundamentally different experience every single day for as long as you own it. Now, most buyers assume orientation is simple. West means sunset views. East means morning light. That's how it works in a grid city where the streets run in straight lines and the topography doesn't get in the way. But Laguna Beach isn't a grid city. Laguna is canyons, bluffs, and streets that curve with the land instead of cutting through it. So a street that looks west facing on a map might actually be shadowed by the canyon wall behind it every afternoon. A street that looks landlocked might catch a sliver of ocean light you'd never expect because of the way the elevation drops towards the water 2 streets over. You cannot Google this, you cannot see it on a listing, you can barely see it on a site visit unless you know exactly when to show up. And here's what makes this even more important. Not every buyer wants the same thing. In my experience, Laguna buyers really break down into 4 types. There's the buyer who wants the massive, unobstructed ocean view, full stop, nothing else matters. Then there's a buyer that's chasing the perfect sunset view, that golden hour, ocean on fire moment that we're talking about. Then, and this one surprises people, there's one buyer who used to want that same sunset view, actually had it, and now wants the opposite. No direct afternoon sun. They lived with the heat and the glare pouring through their windows every evening for a few summers, and they're done with it. And then there's a buyer who doesn't want the ocean at all. They want the hills, the city lights, the canyon views, a completely different feel. Now, what makes Laguna so unique is that because of this topography, 2 houses 2 doors apart can sit in completely different orientation categories. One can have the wide open ocean view and catch direct sun every afternoon. The one right next door can look completely different, angled just enough by the curve of the street or the drop of the canyon that it gets a partial view or a hill view or shade by 4 o'clock instead of the sun. That's not a small detail. That orientation is quietly deciding your price, and it's deciding the actual temperature inside your home on a July or August afternoon. 2 nearly identical houses, 2 completely different living experiences just because of which way the lot happens to face. I had a client a while back who came from a market where this just wasn't a factor. Flat streets, predictable light, no canyons to think about. We walked 2 homes in the same neighborhood, same week, almost identical on paper. One of them we walked in the late afternoon and the whole living room turned gold. The other one, same time of the day, similar square footage, similar price point, and it just felt flat. Nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't the same house to live in, even though it was the same house on paper. That's the moment it clicked for them. And honestly, that's the moment it clicks for most people. Usually after they've already bought, when they visit a neighbor's place and go, oh, that's the feeling I wanted. I just didn't know how to ask for it. So here's what I do differently. Because I ever let a client fall in love with a property, I walk it myself, and when I can, I walk it at more than one time of day. Morning light tells you one story, late afternoon tells you a completely different one. I'm paying attention to the canyon shadow, the neighboring roof line, the elevation, the way the street bends, because all of that adds up to how you're actually going to live in that house, not just how it photographs for the listing. And I want to be clear about why this matters so much here specifically. At the price points most serious buyers are working with in Laguna Beach, 2, 3, 4 million and up, orientation isn't a nice to have. It's not just a preference you either happen to get or don't. It's baked into the value of what property, whether anyone accounts for it or not, and it's baked into how comfortable that house actually feels to live in come August. 2 homes could be priced identically and simply not be worth the same amount because one of them gives you the exact view and light you're after, keeps its temperature in check, and the other one doesn't, and never will, no matter what you do to it. If nobody points it out to you before you buy, you're the one who ends up paying for it or living with it without ever knowing it was on the table. That's really the bigger lesson here. Laguna rewards buyers who know what to look for, and it quietly costs the ones who don't. Street orientation is just one example. There are others, but this is usually the one that catches people off guard the most because it feels like it should be obvious, and it almost never is. If you're looking at a property in Laguna Beach and you want someone walking it with you who's thinking about all of this before you ever fall in love with a listing, please reach out.